What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So my bookkeeper was just here, and she has a 19 Acura MDX, and she was having issues with the vehicle shutting off and some other things. So she took it into the dealer, and they said there was nothing wrong with it. And it's 5 years old. I'm not sure what the mileage is, and dealer maintained and serviced. So we're talking, and I said, well, when are you changing your oil on your Acura? And she gets mileage out of her car, so she knows how to maintain the vehicle. Say she does a lot of that. So I said to her, I said, are you following the factory scheduled maintenance reminder in the vehicle? She's like, yeah, I think it's set for 7,500 miles. I'm like, stop doing that. So she went out to her car, and she's like, oh, let me show you the paperwork from the dealership that I got back. They had it for a week. I'm like, what did they tell you was wrong with it? She's like, they said there was nothing wrong with it. I was like, oh, really? Interesting. So I get the paperwork, and I'm looking at it, and it was a recall for rod bearings. So the description was her concerns, and then underneath of that was inspect connecting rod bearing. So I guess they gave them enough time to inspect one bearing, and then the next line section was replace all rod bearings. And I said, well, why do you think the rod bearings fail? It isn't because Acura doesn't know how to build an engine. And I said, it's probably because you're following their overextended oil changes. So let me just look this up. So it was 15 and 19 is what the recall had. Let me see if I can't find it. Interesting. So let me just go into all data. Stay with me. Let me just put in the vehicle. I don't have the specific VIN, and you know how crummy that is by VIN number, right? She has a 19, and her vehicle's out of the factory warranty. But I bet because she's been going there for service, it must be a good dealership. Because if your rod bearings are shot, she doesn't have, I don't think she has the odd bearing. Wow, since I don't have a VIN number, it's probably not going to give me this. Let's go back. Let's go to the engine, and then we'll go rod bearings and see if there's any information. Service bulletins. Oh, here we go. No kidding. They put this under a safety recall. You ready for this? So how did it last 5 years? I'm going to read this to you. Certain model years 16 to 20, 2020, certain model years 16 to 2020 MDX and 15 to 20 TLX V6 vehicles may have engines containing internal engine damage at the connecting rod bearings, possibly leading to engine failure. If an engine fails, the vehicle may lose motive power, increasing the risk of crash, fire, and injury. So her engine actually stalled. During the engine manufacturing, some crankshafts may have been built with improper connecting rod journal dimensions, resulting in increased friction between the journals and the bearings. The increased friction could lead to an accelerated engine deterioration and possible failure due to lack of lubrication and excessive heat. Whoa! So how about that? blaming it on clearance issues. So I was going to say extended oil changes, but I advised her regardless. If that engine lasted 5 years before the bearings started to fail enough to where the oil pressure was low enough to shut the engine off, I'm wondering how long it would have lasted with 3,000 and 5,000 mile oil changes. 10 years? Long enough for you to say, there's nothing we're going to do about it. So Gina drives her car a lot. I think she has 80,000 miles on it. So she's in that customer base where she drives a lot, and most people do today. So if you were a customer who didn't drive a lot with your newer Acura, you probably won't experience this issue. And I'm saying if you're lucky to do 30,000 miles in 5 years, you may not have this issue. But people who drive the crap out of their vehicles every day, this probably has happened sooner. And this is where they turned it into a safety recall, because the engines are shutting off while they're trying to accelerate through traffic or other things, and it's a major safety issue. But they never told her what they did. They just said, hey, we didn't find anything wrong, and there's no charge, have a nice day, when they actually just basically performed heart surgery on her engine. So wow. And here we go. Let's just do, I'm going to give you an example. Ready? It looks the same, it runs the same, but it's not the same. They tested this and they didn't test this. So, and then 3,000 of this, which is the bad or close enough, went out to the consumers, when this was the good product. That, you follow me? They tested one good product, and thousands of the other bad product went out. How are they going to know? It's showing up a few years later, because these manufacturers are not, the quality is not there anymore. It costs too much for them to test and inspect. How about that? Thanks for watching.